wish list, and in this episode I wanted to talk about the relic slot. The relic slot's probably the part where they've made the biggest changes out of all gear slots in the franchise so far. Going from... Jacks can look like these guys. Going from artifacts to relics to Oz kits has been a pretty drastic change and upgrade. Some people want to see artifacts come back. I really don't. I think artifacts were really lame, and they don't really work out with where the game is going. One of the reasons I say this is because I don't think they work with all the characters' action skills anymore. You know, in Borderlands 1, artifacts they really just added an element to an action skill. And, you know, that worked for that game. It was the first game in the series. You know, it was a lot rougher to where it is now. But, how would that exactly even work, you know, going forward with a lot of this stuff? How would you add an element to Gunzerking or Showdown with Nisha? So that's where I just really don't think that works anymore. And, you know, I don't want to see those come back for that reason. You know, even like Claptrap, how would that work with his action skill? I just think it's a limiting thing. It doesn't do all that much. It's kind of boring. And even that, like, Maya's got runes, so... and Helios, so she already adds all that to hers, and... for, like, Maya and Axton, if you could do that, you would just use the Slag Relic every time anyways, because it would be the best one. You wouldn't even bother with the other elements. And then there's maps like the Wildlife Preserve, where you have all these different elements. So are you going to pause your game and keep swapping artifacts? You know, you start off with Stalker, so you want Shock, and then are you going to switch to Corrosive, and then after you go through those loaders, you go to those Skags, so you switch to Fire, but then you get a badass Fire Skag and it does nothing. It's just, I don't know, don't think it's a good idea. And, yeah, I don't really want to see those come back. Now, Relics in Borderlands 2, I thought Relics and Grenades were the biggest improvement in what gear changes from Borderlands 2 to now. And the cool thing about Relics is they offered so much more. You had cooldown relics, you had allegiance relics, you had aggression relics that boosted one kind of gun type. You had God, there's so many kinds. Your defensive relics, you had fight for your life relics, you had the afterburner relic to increase your car stuff for the car races and stuff you wanted. You had XP relics. You know, the list goes on. Then you go into red text, like the sheriff's badge and stuff. Although red text relics in Borderlands 2 normally weren't great. I'm not saying there weren't no good ones. You know, I covered those, but in general, they weren't the most interesting of all things. And then fast forward to the pre-sequel, where we got Oz kits. Now, Oz kits are like relics, but they offer more. So the cool thing about going to Oz kits, this is a bad example because I've got other things. So if you look at the AK here, I guess they all have a bunch of extra stats on them, but they controlled your O2 capacity and your slam damage. So they not only have kind of your accessory slot, but they're also increasing stats of another functional item now. And I think that's pretty fucking awesome. Now, the double jumping thing is kind of up for grabs. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it because right now, this freedom of movement just let me hop all the way over here a hell of a lot faster than I would have been able to just running on my feet. And that's why I'm a big fan of these, because they just let you move faster. And moving faster I consider to be a very good thing. However, in Borderlands 3, I hope it's not all, kind of moon-basey, outer space, either low gravity or gravity, vacuum or atmosphere. I would rather see it rocket packs, to be honest. And I know this isn't a great, an original idea. A lot of people have said this. I hope they kind of bring these back, but in the form of rocket packs, like so many other first-person shooters or even third-person shooters. Titanfall has it, Evolve has it. It's a pretty simple idea, but I hope we bring that back. And instead of O2 kits, we get fuel kits, or maybe they're battery operated, or something. I didn't actually want to go that direction, do I? No. So that's kind of my hope for what they do with these in Borderlands 3. I really want to see that. But hopefully they can figure out some other interesting ways. I don't think they need to make a big jump on these again like they have in some of the previous games. But I think they did a phenomenal job in the pre-sequel upgrading these Oz kits. I'm just going to pause here and kind of look through some of my kits. So the red text ones, here's where they did really good. In Borderlands 2, relics were really awesome, but then they came out with a bone, and that kind of pigeonholed the game, because the bone was so much better than everything else, being the best DPS comm and offering cooldown, which for almost every character was a pretty big deal. Now, in the pre-sequel, the Eddie is probably the version of the bone. But the cool thing about the Eddie, well, you see laser damage here. Most people wear it for its defensive properties, and that's pretty awesome. But just going through, the Ack is pretty cool and interesting, especially with like the flak, and you can kind of go around it. The Oxidizer is really fucking cool, offering that kind of Nova. Having a health regen 1 is a pretty sweet idea. Don't mind that at all. Juggernauts are some of my favorites, because if you notice here, the slam damage is so big. So in Borderlands 2, no one really used the resistance relics or the skin of the ancients, I believe they were, that often. Because either they were better with DPS or they were better off with health stacking, so they never really got used. But in this one, having your max O2 capacity is good, but a lot of them have that. But having the biggest slam damage offers something different to it, making it kind of worthwhile to use it. And that's pretty cool. The bombers are some of the coolest ones. This is a great idea. Not even red text. But a free grenade chance and grenade damage, that's awesome. Tranquilities, I guess you can get over that 200. But this one's pretty simple and straightforward, but good. More O2, more gun damage. So, I really like what they did with a lot of these. I didn't love the dualities. The fart was pretty awesome, and it's pretty big slam damage. The system's purge is incredibly interesting. Adding a non-elemental shockwave kind of splash damage to your bullets. It's kind of like a bee shield-ish. And you can, spec around these, and they're really interesting. So I would love to see them kind of stick with what they went with in the pre-sequel, but change it to rocket packs. So we just, kind of move a lot faster. Normal movement speed, and the cooler effects. But yeah, we even got like better melee relics, for example, in Borderlands 2 were really bad. And in Borderlands the pre-sequel, they made them really good with the Acrobat by boosting melee damage, but also your movement speed. So there's a lot of areas where they kind of realized, hey, these relics weren't that great, and they've done better on them. The things I'd like to see come back in a big way would be... Which way am I going? I just got lost in this map. Huh. Self-destructive. Allegiance relics, and I kind of talked about that in the last episode. I think Allegiance is really awesome. Ah, shit, I held back there. But I really miss those and some other ones, and hopefully we come up with a lot of new interesting relics. But we keep this slot. We don't make it into 2 slots. I don't really see the need to expand gear to a lot of accessory things. Some of these RPGs, you got your gloves, you got boots, you got, pretty much everything. I don't know if Borderlands needs to go that far. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it's adding a lot to the game, and I mean, adding is good, but you get to a point where you have too much, and it just offers more broken things, and I don't know if that's the best idea. But like I said, I'm not entirely opposed to it. Come on, where are some enemies? There's some more. I hope they stay away from doing too many of the elemental stuff. Stay away from cooldown. That's something in the pre-sequel again. We didn't get cooldown relics because those, became really too powerful. And I'd be really glad to not return to any of that kind of broken stuff like the bones. Uh-oh. Might not be good with my kill skills going away. Nice. Here's a good opportunity. Let's throw on the oxidizer, which will just give me my passive health regeneration, but passive health regeneration is a pretty cool thing. So that's really all I have for the relic stuff. I basically don't think they need to make a big change in this one again. They just, I would like to see it rocket packs instead of O2 kits. So, let me know what you guys think. Do you want double jump to return? Would you rather get rid of the double jump and all that stuff? Go back to the way it was in Borderlands 2. Where do you kind of stand on this? Or do you have any other ideas? I know there are a lot of Artifact fans, and I don't know, I just don't get that. Borderlands 1 did a ton of things poorly. It was a great game, but it was the first game of the franchise, and it was deeply flawed. And some of that stuff just belongs in the past. Like Nox scaling and artifacts, and I don't know, I just don't think a lot of that stuff has a home in moving forward in the series. Let's see if we got any cool loot here. Yeah, you go away. Usually those things come out faster. Alright, so, well, that's all I have for this one. No big changes or anything, and let me know what you think in the comments. If you guys have not subscribed yet, I appreciate if you do that. It definitely helps me out. And until next time, I will see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.